Hey, welcome back to the Plug In for More podcast. We finally have Bryant back in the recordings with us. I mean, he was on his fifth or sixth vacation for the year at this point. I
Yeah.
I am
Ninth.
so jealous and envious of you, Bryant. Like all the trips you get to do, it's super cool.
Hey, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me back.
I'm hoping you got something good for us today.
I do. I mean, I was really excited because on vacation, the Cybertruck unveiled, and I just could not wait to talk to Mike about this because I know Mike's so excited because he has got 100 reservations or something, 200 reservations, but the doors don't align on the unveiling. Like, if you look at the
Okay.
photos, the doors don't align.
Welcome to Plug In for More, brought to you by evuniverse.com. EV Universe is your one-stop shop for all things related to the electric vehicle. Here on this podcast, our goal is to educate, inspire, and hopefully make your transition into the electric vehicle marketplace a lot less intimidating. And now, here are your hosts, Mike, Tom, and Bryant.
Guys. Let's bring this back. This is consistent with Tesla, so they're nothing but consistent. And I think you guys have all seen it. Not all the doors and Falcon Wing doors in the Model X's. I mean, they don't always fit perfectly, but I think, and we've shown too, it's pretty easy to adjust those yourself if you need to. They're more interested in getting the cars out, even with the first Cybertruck that was put up on Twitter or X, as it is now called. I think as of today or yesterday is the official word on Twitter, moving over to X.com. So,
I mean, Mike,
anyways,
Mike, I just have to
yeah.
ask, how much is the Cybertruck MSRP?
What do you think? Because I don't know either. Nobody knows other
What do
than
you think it's going to be,
Tesla.
though?
For the top of the line model, that they were originally supposed to be at like 79,000. My guess is it's gonna be, oh, 89. They're gonna tack on 10 grand to it. Is my guess.
How much is it if you have to adjust the gaps on your own doors?
That's my
Same
question.
price. Same price.
Oh,
No discount. Not for you.
okay.
Yeah. Anybody else probably they'd give a discount, but not Tom.
Everyone wants to spend 90 grand on a car that you have to fix when you get it, right?
Well, have you seen Ferraris, man? Those things are panel gap cities. They're everywhere. Come on,
I
man.
mean, but Ferraris look cool, Mike. I just have to say.
Hey, did you guys see the Tesla put a Ford F-150 Lightning wrap on a Cybertruck? There's some pictures coming out just this morning of that. It's hilarious.
I saw it, but it looked to me like a really bad Photoshop and not a wrap.
Mm-mm. I don't think so. I think it's a wrap. I mean, no matter what. Okay, so like, let's take the wrap out of the equation. Did you guys see the picture of the frunk?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not very. It's a lot smaller than. I mean, granted, it has to be than like a Ford F-150 Lightning or the Rivian or the new Silverado EV, but that thing's it's kind of tiny. I mean, it opens up in the same way that the F-150 does, with kind of that the grill going with it.
That image was kind of from a distance at a weird angle, so, like, giving I I am not one to give the Cybertruck the benefit of the doubt, but, like, I don't entirely believe the photo.
Yeah, but I mean, even just looking at the other photos where it's closed, I mean, there's just not that much room up front. So we'll see what the numbers come out to be, but I don't think the front's gonna be very big. And
Um,
they're talking about 350-mile range on it. That's not. I mean, the Rivian is what way I'm driving. I put in conserve mode. It's 347 miles, and it's
Yeah,
outperforming that. I mean, that's. I really hope that Tesla can outdo that.
yeah,
that's a
that's
good point.
impressive.
It's a good point. I mean, we talked about the Lightning. The other big news over the last 5 days, the Lightning is cheaper now. They lowered the price, right? Ford updated the Pro model, which is the lowest price, the lowest base model, from 59,000 down to 49. And then,
Well, but
right?
they brought it back to where it was, or even still slightly above where it used to be. So
Because I think it was, like, originally, like, 47,
yeah,
Yep. And then
in that
was up to
ballpark.
then went to 59 because of, right, everyone wanted one, and now it's back to 49.
and they did the same for it was kind of across the board, I think, for all the models as well, which gets them all now to qualify for the tax rebates.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't think you have to adjust the doors when you get a Lightning. I think they're already adjusted, I think.
But I really like, being able to tune my car and to customize it the way I want. So, like, just having quickly adjustable door panels so that if I want a bigger gap, I can. Would that be really nice to have?
Oh my goodness.
I
Goodness,
mean, you're
guys.
right. I'm jealous. I wish my doors were, like, super gappy. Maybe I'll have to adjust them
I
so they look
mean,
that way.
Hey,
why?
hey, your door has got a big chunk missing out of it from, I mean, from just what driving down the highway. I mean, so let's just call a spade a spade. That Cybertruck's not going to have chunks missing out of it. It's
Dude,
steel.
a rock hit me because I have 21,000 miles on my car. A rock hit the side
No,
panel for the window. And if I hadn't pointed out,
just
you would not even notice.
no. I would have. It's jagged and sticking out like a sore thumb. You might as well paint it green.
It didn't come from the factory that way, let's just say that.
Well, most of the things that are on your car didn't come from the factory. I don't know. That's
I
dumb. Let's
mean,
let's cut
I'll
that one out.
no, let's keep that in. I
No,
think
it's
we should
staying
keep
in
that in.
now.
Yeah,
Everyone needs to
okay.
know.
Everyone
Everyone
needs.
needs to know.
All
Um,
right.
alright, let's bring this back together. I think, the only other thing I think that happened since we recorded last, well, I mean, a lot of things happened. The only cool thing I thought was if you wanted to buy a Lamborghini that is 100% gasoline powered, sorry, you can't do it anymore. Every single Lamborghini has been spoken for, is on order. You have to now go towards a hybrid Lamborghini. So, sorry, I don't know, Mike, how many Lamborghinis did you have in order? Maybe 7 or 8?
Yeah, no, none. I'm good. And let's go back to the Cybertruck. Only I had 3, and I think we talked about this before in a previous episode. That was a mistake because on the unveiling night, the site was not working, so I kept hitting submit, and now I have 3 on order, and they're all spoken for. So could be
I
worse.
mean, I think,
Hmm.
Tom, you and I heard the real story from Mike's wife over, the
Yeah, we
holiday,
did.
right?
Right.
Should we share that with the listeners? Have the listeners heard the real story here?
I
I
don't think
think
so. I mean, we have Mike's narrative. That's about all we got.
I think we need a
the
counter
truth.
narrative. I know Barb's listening, so, unlike my wife, she does not listen to this podcast.
No, Renee does not listen to our podcast.
No, she does not. But
Yeah.
so listener, the real story here from Barb, Mike's wife, is she was and correct me if I'm wrong on that part of this. This is my recollection, but this was like 4th of July weekend, so my recollection could be fuzzy. But she told Mike that he could get a reservation as long as the truck looked cool. And so of course she wakes because it's midnight, like Mike talked about. The website was glitchy, whatever. So she wakes up in the morning, talks to Mike, and she saw it. And she's like, "Oh, like I'm glad you didn't get a reservation for that. That kind of looks janky." And Mike's like, "Yeah, we don't have one reservation." And then what, Mike? It took how long did it take for you to admit you didn't have one? You had 3.
Well, I mean, I was just going by technically what she said, and then 3 days later, I can't remember exactly how she found out, but she's like, "Hey, so, what the heck is this? You've got 3 on order?" And "Yeah, I've got 3. You said you didn't have 1." I'm like, "No, I didn't have 1. I've got 3." So, um, slight discrepancy of the words and how things happen, but end of the day, yeah, we got 3 on order. So, if you guys want one, I know you guys really excited for it. Tom
I'm a,
especially.
I'm a hard no.
Tom's in.
I love it. I love it. And then just one more story from when we saw Mike when he was up for the 4th. These guys ripping me for old man mode. I will say this actually came back to bite me. We're just having like a spirited driving. We weren't doing anything crazy, but Mike had his mom's Tesla. What is that? A 3 performance or sorry, it's not a
No,
3, a Y
Y
performance.
perform oh, yep, Y performance.
And then obviously my EV6 and Tom's Mach-E. Yeah, I might have been in old man mode trying to out accelerate Mike. It was pretty embarrassing that I hadn't even put it in sport mode.
Yep.
It,
And it
you're
wasn't gonna be a fair fight anyways. I mean, you have a wind all-wheel drive, and it wasn't the GT, and yeah.
and even in your old man mode, it's probably still faster than the Mach-E. So it
Yeah.
I was just disappointed in myself, guys. I was disappointed in myself. There's time for old man mode, and there's time for sport mode, and that was time for
We're
sport mode.
disappointed in you too. It's okay.
I just appreciate you guys letting me keep up in the corners.
Yeah, Tom smoked us in the corners. That Maki's like on rails. It's good.
All right, I was just trying to read up on the Toyota 745 miles of range solid state battery,
Yeah,
but
it's
there
way
isn't a ton of like specifics available.
because it's not going to happen. I don't think anytime soon. To me, it's Toyota's trying to. They're behind on EVs, and they're trying to find a way to stay in the news that people should hold out, wait for the Toyota product that may or may not show up, and not jump into EVs. I mean, to me, I think I can see what they're doing from a marketing perspective, but it really, I mean, if you had a solid state 900 range battery, that fantastic. But right now, I mean, they've been in the hybrid game for a long, long, long time,
Yeah.
and that's the way they're still pushing things is still the hybrid. And they're saying it's because of the lack of batteries and that kind of thing, which I think there's some truth to that. But I think there's two things they're missing with it. One is that a lot of people who use hybrids, especially the plug-in hybrids, don't always necessarily plug them in. But then you also have the fact you're still building, all the parts for a gas car and electric, and then you got to combine the two, which just makes it, a lot more complicated. So I'm not the biggest fan of that process. But what do you guys think?
Well, I think it's super exciting. I mean, that making that progress to a solid state battery, if it really does have that sort of range. I mean, it looks like their talks is saying like 2025, like, which is pretty quick, honestly, at this point.
Yeah.
But reducing weight and um, increasing that amount of energy that battery is going to be able to store, and it's going to make the cars way more efficient. I just like where that's headed for the electric vehicle platforms as a whole, regardless if it's Toyota, Tesla, or Ford. This is as long as that solid state's getting out there and it's usable, because it's making everything better.
Oh yeah. If it's true, yeah. I mean, that's the
Correct.
thing is, I think anytime you can lighten these vehicles, that's a great thing. It's going to help with efficiency. We all know the
Yeah.
performance is going to be better. Yes, absolutely, let's do it. But what I don't like to see is over promise, under deliver, flip it, where it's under promise, over deliver, and we're good.
But like, that's been Tesla's name of the game for however long.
It's a good point. That's a good point. They definitely
Like,
have, especially on the timelines. I will say on the specs of the vehicle, when the Model 3 came out, I think they were talking under 5 seconds 0 to 60.
hmm
Well, now we're
yeah,
3.1, so
sure,
and the range has gone further, but it's definitely their timelines have been off. There's
right.
no doubt about that. That's clear as day.
So I was thinking about it. I was thinking about it like I talked about the Lamborghini no longer, selling any gas powered vehicles. It's going to be all hybrids. Ferrari has a new hybrid as well. I think we're seeing, a slow shift from a full adoption for EVs to this middle ground, right? And so I think we had this conversation too over the fourth, actually, because Mike's wife drives a hybrid, right? She likes them. She's going to switch to full EV
Uh,
though when it comes
yeah,
out,
well,
right?
it's the Jeep Wrangler 4xe, so she loves that thing, but she really wants the EV version,
Yeah.
but it doesn't exist.
You're listening to the Plug In for More podcast. If you're looking for information on electric vehicles components, or information on how to reduce your carbon footprint, look no further than evuniverse.com. evuniverse.com is your one-stop shop for all things related to electric vehicle.
I think something else, and I've got some thoughts on this. Something else that I never thought I'd hear Mike ever say in my life, but he said it, is the new Prius is cool.
I said it looks cool. Let's let's be accurate with the words I said. I think it looks cool. I'm not. It's yeah. I mean, I think they did a good job with it. Don't get me wrong, but I would rather have it be a full EV.
Yeah. So I think I was looking up. So Toyota is obviously the 900-mile range battery, like Tom talked about. We'll see if it actually comes out or not. But it's interesting listening to. I was reading and listening to Toyota's president talk about this still, and as we know, like Toyota was First one 25 years ago, the Prius came out. There's just a lot of, I think, lagging in Toyota, right? They have an EV, but it's not a top seller. And I think they still continue to drive home this point. It's from Toyota's president, where he talks about a 100 kilowatt battery, which is about the Tesla Model S battery, or very similar to most EVs on the road right now. You could divide that to 10 Prius plug-in hybrids, which deliver about 30 miles of electric range. And then if most people drive about 40 miles a day, that was a Department of Transportation, Department of Energy report, you'd get a lot more people driving on full EV power. You get 10 people driving most of the day on full EV power versus one Tesla. And that continues to be their logic. So I think it's interesting from their perspective, rather than one Tesla that goes 400 miles, you get 10 plug-in hybrids that go 40 miles. And that's their
Yeah, I
logic,
mean,
right?
yeah, that's their logic. I mean, but how many Priuses are sold, or even that size vehicle are sold now versus trucks and SUVs? So I think that logic is a little skewed. So you'd have to, look at a, plug-in, you know, F-150 or something like that. The really look at the high selling vehicles. Same thing with the big SUVs. Everyone's driving an SUV these days, pretty much. So are you going to divide that battery? It's not going to be 10. Is it going to be 3 or 4 that goes into one of those vehicles to achieve that same range?
Yeah, and I think we've talked about it in previous episodes, but there's been a lot of studies done around which is more, family friendly, environmentally friendly, full EVs or hybrids. And initially, it's the hybrid, right? It kills the EV. Over time, though, the EV becomes much more efficient and better for the environment, right? So, well, I think one like interesting technology I was reading about this weekend, actually, in the newest issue of Haggerty's magazine, is Porsche has this new concept where they can actually like take carbon out of the atmosphere and create gasoline from it, or a version of gasoline from it. And right now they're not putting out too much, like a couple hundred gallons a day, but they're driving their
Mm.
Panameras on it, and the plants in South America. It's a really interesting article. I'm not sure, the article finishes where they're going to open up a few plants across, South America, like I said, but then the US. But it's very, very time intensive and very, very takes a lot of energy to create that gasoline. But it's super fascinating thinking about that's actually a pretty green, that's a pretty green, gasoline energy source. And if you put that into a hybrid, so you're running on battery and then you're running on gasoline that's literally created out of the air, that would be pretty good. But I'll just have to figure out more. And the article didn't go into it, didn't go into specifics or on how much energy it actually takes to make, gasoline out of air. But it's a really cool concept, taking the carbon that we put into the atmosphere, taking it back, creating gasoline out of it, and then putting it back in the atmosphere. You're not adding carbon to the atmosphere, just recycling what's already there. Fascinating concept.
Yeah, as long as you can have the energy that's pulling it, down and making it into gasoline. I mean, that's kind of the plus factor, right? So, yeah, I mean, if you can find a way, and this is beyond my knowledge base, to make it where it's truly, carbon neutral. I mean, I think a lot of people enjoy the sound of an engine, especially well tuned, V8 or V12. They sound fantastic. I mean, I think for a lot of people, it'd be crazy not to think that there's some benefits to that.
So I think we touched on it a little bit, but Tom, what are your thoughts on hybrids? So, right, so we know where Mike stands. Mike doesn't think they're good for the environment. They're a compromise of
Uh,
both. Where are you at?
I think my view on the hybrids is going to be comparing them to a Rube Goldberg project, in that you have so many complicated systems that are trying to complement each other, but they don't really. And the biggest part of the EV driving that I've really come to enjoy is its simplicity and its smoothness. And I think from an EV compared to a gas car, it really accentuates how harsh a gas car is to drive, with your transmission shifting and being off the gas and then on the brake and then the transmission's engaging. Even with the smoothest buttery transmission, automatic transmission on a gas car, you still feel that. And so for me driving the Mach E with the one pedal drive, like you're on the gas or off, or on the accelerator, off the accelerator, and the car slows and stops. And that is it has so much less stress on the body. And maybe that's a weird way of looking at it, because for years I drive a gas car and I don't really think about it, but you feel that difference after time. My work vehicle is a 2019 Dodge Charger with a Hemi. Like, I feel that every shift and every time I get on the brakes, like, it's a much different experience. Now, put the hybrid into it, and the idea there where you're going to have these two systems now that are going to be switching back and forth from gas to electric. And I think it adds one more step, one more layer of transition that you're going to feel, and things that could go wrong.
Yep. I mean, that's exactly what we noticed with the Jeep 4xe is. But what I think what makes it stand out even more is that with the 4xe, you're in the car, it's buttery smooth for EV, and then it shifts over into the hybrid or into gas mode,
Mhm.
and the engine turns on. And then you get the transmission shifting at that point in time too. So it's like you get this super smooth, like you're in your Mach-E, and then while you're still sitting in the same seat instantaneously, all of a sudden you're in your Charger. Like
Yeah.
that, it's not a, 20 minutes or switching from getting out of one car, getting into the other. It's like during that same drive. And to me, that just accentuates how like smooth one is versus how unsmooth and how rough a gas, powered driving experience is.
And for me, I guess I would put more weight on the driving experience than I do on the environmental concerns. I'm not saying the environmental concerns are not important. I think they are, but when you get me into a car, I'm going to be more concerned with that feel and how it drives and all of that.
Yeah, I would agree. I think you bring up a good point, Tom. I think the thing I like about my EVs is two things. One, there's like no maintenance besides rotating your tires and getting some updates. That's really like that's it, right? About to take my car in for 21,000 mile service, rotating tires, getting an update, which I could just wait and do over the air, and then changing the cabin filter, which I could easily do myself. That's not hard, right? Versus a hybrid,
Right.
you still have to do oil changes, you still have to do all that stuff. And then when I'm
Yeah.
driving my gas car, when I'm driving my gas truck, this might sound weird, but I hate it when I put my foot on the brake and I feel like I'm just not recapturing that energy. Like I'm not recharging my battery. I'm just wasting heat, which I love in the EV. You can just recapture most of that, not all of it, obviously, but you can recapture that
Right.
energy and you're charging the battery and you don't feel like you're wasting it. Like now I feel like I'm wasting something when I'm braking. It's weird.
It's not that I dislike other vehicles. I really like gas cars. I like all cars. And that's why part of the fun part about this podcast is we're exploring something that's kind of new and trying to shed some light on it. But even just before this recording, I ran down to our local farmer stand and I took the Miata just because I wanted to drive through the corners and have the top down and run that little car. And it's slow by comparison to the Mach-E, but that connection to the road and the feeling of driving a manual, like I wanted that in that moment. And it's great.
Yeah, good point. So I think last thought from me on this is still all in on EV fully, but I will say the one advantage if you're going to take a lot of road trips, and we've talked about this a ton on this podcast, it's very possible with EVs, but you just have to plan out your charging and plan it out a little bit, especially as everyone's getting ready to switch over now to the Tesla charging network. When that happens, that's going to make everything way easier. If you don't want to plan your trips, or if you take a lot of them, an EV might not be for you. You might have a hybrid. I've driven 21,000 miles in a year, so I've taken a lot of trips, no problems. But if you're looking for that convenience of I'm just going to stop and just fill up wherever I want, not plan anything out. But if you're just going to do city driving or occasional road trips like myself, I've had no problem with an EV.
Cool, guys. I really appreciate having the chance to sit down and talk about the hybrid and EV conversation and making fun of Mike for the Cybertruck, which he has no control over.
Yep, that's that works for me. Thanks, Tom.
It was a good episode, like usual, guys.
All right. Take care. Have a great day.
Thanks for joining, Bryant. All right, see ya.
Thank you for listening to Plug In for More. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. In the meantime, check out the one-stop EV marketplace, evuniverse.com. Until next time.